Hey everyone, it's Rob Ryder on Sunday, July 21st, 2013. Contact information, Rob Ryder on Skype, ROBBRYDER, Court of Record at AOL.com. On YouTube, it's Rob Ryder with 3 B's. Don't ask me why I made a mistake. My phone number is 616-712-6179, but I am Robert Allen Rutluski, Son of God. I want to welcome to you of the Holy Orders, if you should happen to appear, because there's a good chance you will. I made a promise that I'll be on my best behavior. But for the record, we're of the laity, and we're going to talk about the Pontifical Council for the Laity. Now, for those of you that you hear a word like Pope, Jesuit, whatever, and it makes your Manchurian candidate go off in your head, do yourself a favor for right now. Either don't watch or get a stick to bite on, because we're going to be talking good about these people. Right? The seizure will go away. But this is really geared to those of the Holy Order, to tell you who we are, because we're of the Order of the Laity. We have a special office within the Holy See. And it's going to be pointed out in the Pontifical Council for the Laity. And what we're trying to do is figure out how we can access our office, because we have a special function within the church. You and the Holy Orders have an office, and that office has a certain set of parameters it can work in. Well, as in the office of a lay apostle, apostolate, we have an office, and it has a certain branch of things it can do. And what we're supposed to do is, because believe me, we can tell you who a false accuser is. We deal with them all the time. We're supposed to bring it to the attention of a court that's been set up under the Pontifical Council for the Laity and other referenced papal decrees and constitutions. Now, understand, all these have the papal authority of the Pope from his office as the chief magistrate, the magisterium of the Catholic government. And he has jurisdiction over all baptized people. Whether they like it or not is not the question. The truth is, as you will see, he has jurisdiction over all baptized people. They make up the laity. And while we try to go into their courts, these civil courts, to fight the case they brought against us, what we need to be doing is taking them to the court set up by the Roman Curia to point out the transgressions of faith and sin. And there's been a special offer set up for the laity that was set up under this Pontifical Council for the Laity. So let's go on. So, for instance, like in Lumen Gentium, which is the dogmatic constitution of the Catholic Church, full weight and authority of the Pope, to not follow what it says would be treason against the government of the Church. In number 37, it says, however, let the shepherds respectfully acknowledge that just freedom which belongs to everyone in this earthly city. I want the shepherds to start going out and telling the flock, hey, you have a jurisdiction within the church. There's an office there, and if you go to that jurisdiction, you'll no longer be under the jurisdiction of the state. Now, the state doesn't really exist. The state has offices that have been usurped by people who have just they assume the office. They don't have a commission. They don't have an oath of office. They haven't put in their acceptance of office. They don't do court paperwork correctly. They don't do tax paperwork correctly. Really, they don't do anything correctly. They do nothing by the procedure except one. It's just the way we do it. They do it by custom. And that custom comes out of the Talmud. And that's what the law of the land is based on, it's really the law of the Jew. I've covered this stuff already in other videos, but just real quickly, the Magna Carta was known as the Constitution of the Jewry, and it was between the kings and the Jews, and it and 3 or 4 other contracts, constitutions, whatever, around the same time, between the time of the Norman Conquest and 1217, ended up making the Jews the property of the king. And as the property of the king, they had the king's protection. Well, that system has been replicated into the Catholic Church, and they also has a Magna Charta that goes along with this thing we're going to talk about now. And in the Magna Charta, it is making Christians the property of the Lord Jesus Christ, and now they have his protection. And so all we're doing is leaving one jurisdiction for another, and you're going to end up with a corporate soul, a sui juris, within the Holy See, within the government of the church, and come out of the, because you can't serve two masters, you're going to have to give away the state citizenship. And it sounds like all this paperwork's already set up. We just haven't found it yet. And we'll take any help we can get. If you can help, we're here to listen. So call me, 616-712-6179. Okay, and then there's a decree on the apostolate of the laity. Joy and Hope, his church. These are all different things that came out of Vatican II. Right, all decrees or constitutions or whatever. So what's the highlights? Well, we're going to see that, here's my highlight. It seems very opportune that a special office, sui juris, of the laity should be set up within the Holy See for those drafting the text. Apud was intended to mean of the Holy See, not an office of the lay organization close to the Holy See. Of the Holy See, within the Holy See. The Holy See is the government of the Catholic Church, and it's headquartered in Vatican City. Just like, the federal government is the government of the United States of America, and it's headquartered in Washington, D.C. The Holy See is the government, and the government has offices like secretariats, and there's one that's been set up for the laity. The expression sui juris meant an independent office with a cardinal president. What's sui juris? One who has all rights to which a free man is entitled, one who is not under the power of another, as a slave, a minor, and the like. Now that's out of Bouvier's 1856, I believe it is. Law Dictionary. Lots of good definitions for sui juris. But what it is, really, to us, is it's a corporate soul within the church, much like a bishop. And your corporate soul is whatever your title is going to be. It may not be bishop, whatever it is, whatever our sui juris is. And the corpus of the corporate soul will be your all-capital letter name estate, which you have built up as a lay man all these years. And we're going to bring it over to the church for the church's good, which is for us to go use it to help our brothers and sisters and show them the same. Everything has already been paid for. All debts are forgiven. In the Holy Orders, if you don't understand this, right, we've all been given an estate. I'm sure some of you do, so we've all been given an estate. The problem is it's the state who's administering it, and the state isn't there to administer it. They're not holding those officers. There's usurpers who are just keeping us from our estate. And so we're going to take it out of their hands and put it back in the church's hands. What else we got? So what do? They set up a council on the laity. What does it do? Foster the faithful observance of ecclesiastic laws concerning the laity. So there's a court within the council of the laity to make sure there's faithful observance of ecclesiastic laws concerning the laity, and one of those laws would be treat your brother like you treat yourself. In other words, don't be a false accuser. And that's all we meet out here in the world are false accusers. Nobody will swear to anything against you unless you've really harmed somebody. If you have, well, you did. You did. Everything's a false accusation. According to their laws, I may have broke their law, but I'm not under their laws. I'm not under law, I'm under grace. Right? You can't write a law that's going to pertain to me. I'm not in your jurisdiction. I'm going to change my domicile back to that of my adopted father, the kingdom of heaven. And you can only be tried in your domicile. So really what ends up happening is the only one you have to answer to is the Pope. Whoop, grab them sticks. Now, would you rather answer to the Pope or to the cop on the side of the road who's going to make a summary judgment whether he should taser your ass or not? I'd just soon not deal with that. I'll talk to the Pope about it. Will I have to do that? Well, only if who's ever bringing the accusation will swear to it and bring forward witnesses. Otherwise, there is no charge. That's within the government of the church. But they're also going to gather and synthesize documents on the major scientific and technical studies in the field of development in all its aspects. In other words, all these free energy devices and things to make the world into a paradise again that already exist, they have control of. Now, in the jurisdiction we're in now, we can't have access to them because it's national security. What nation? Right? The nation that wants to keep you a slave. But we don't need to be in that nation. There's another nation, the Christian nation. And we can go to the Christian nation, and then we can have access to it. We just can't sell it. We need to, whatever we do as a gift, and everything we need to live peacefully and happily is provided. Because every office comes with a benefice. We're basically princes of the church. I'm sure it's a fairly good deal. Anyways, the Concilium de Lactis, which is the Council of Laity, and the Pontifical Commission for the Studies of Promoting Justice and Peace shall have the same president, Cardinal, Roman Catholic of the Roman Catholic Church. Sorry, they are involved. This is interesting. So they did two things, right? They set up the council and then a commission for the studies of promoting justice and peace. I just want to show you that site real fast because this is Pontifical Council for Justice and Peace, right? This is the website. And it's very interesting. You go here and it says Justice and Peace Around the World. And click on it. Sometimes my button doesn't work. There we go. Justice and Peace Around the World. Now, if you want to find justice and peace around the world, click on the button. Is there any in Africa? Nope. Is there any justice and peace in America? No. Can you find it in Asia? I'm afraid not. Europe? Oceania. Apparently, there is no justice and peace in the world today to be found. That's why we need to change the world. And we're going to, by the laity claiming their office, wielding the civil sword to keep the wolves away from the sheep so the shepherds can tend to the flock. Somebody has to be the warrior on the outside of the lines, man. It's just the way it is, right? And sign me up. Show me what I need. What do you need my signature on? Okay, they're going to have the same president, a cardinal of the Roman Catholic Church. The secretariat of the De Lactis shall be assisted by 2 assistant secretaries. So, if you know anything about English common law, that would be the same as the chancellor of the Court of Chancery, and the master of the rolls, and the vice chancellor. That's the 3 that make up a secretariat in English common law. And anyways, that site we just looked at is at www.justpax.it. Okay, so this thing's 41 pages long. No way I can read it all. So I highlight parts and I just kind of read what it says. So basically it says detailed information can be requested from the Secretariat, which is ready to comply with all requests. That's a very good sentence to hear. We can get a hold of the Secretariat and they're ready to comply with all requests. A dicastery, which is a law court of the Holy See, can only be defined in the light of papal magisterium. He is the chief magistrate of the Catholic nation, of the Christian nation, and it's over all baptized Christians. Now, a lot of them don't act like a baptized Christian. They actually are apostates, schismatics, heretics. They're the ones who are taking their other baptized brothers into court, simulating an illegal process by deceit, coercion, duress, threat, to take their property. We know what a false accuser is, and it's not hard to see on their paperwork. And again, we need to take them into this law court, not the ones we're trying to take them into, because it's a matter of faith and sin. The Pontifical Council for Laity is a dicastery, a law court of the Roman Curia, and is for the promotion of the lay apostate, in exercising his supreme, full, immediate authority over the universal church that the royal Roman pontiff employs the various departments of the Roman Curia, which act in his name and by his authority for the good of the church and service of the sacred pastors. And a lay apostate is a sacred pastor. Now, the pontiff, Roman pontiff, you know what Roman is in Latin? Translated to English, it's American. Go figure. But over the universal church. And so these documents have his full and immediate authority, and to not follow what he says would be considered treason against the Catholic nation. So we're going to do this, right? We're really looking for your help. The Pope mandated it has to happen, so we're asking your help. They render this assistance directly in obedience and readiness to serve. I love that. Justice and peace. The object of the council is a state of life or category of Christians. The lay Christian field is akin to certain congregations such as those for the clergy and religious. You have your own congregations, we have one. And we need to go to our own congregation, but when we get there, we're supposed to come work with you. So we're headed to the door. Why don't you meet us there? New dicasteries and secretariat were created. The Pontifical Council for the laity originated from a proposal formulated in number 26 of the, this is the lay apostolate decree, and the Catholic Christi Ecclesiam. No one can fail to see the laity council is destined to have a privileged place within the church. It's because it is where the princes of the church are from. It's where we come in. John Paul II sat on this board during his formative years. Today, its basic competence and structure is defined by the contest of the Apostolic Constitution, Pastor Bonus, on Roman Curia. Right? If you want to know where the authority comes from, the Apostolic Constitution, Pastor Bonus. I think I did parts of that on another video already. Natures and purposes. Members and consultants are the direct witness. I don't know what they're the direct witness of, but, I'm going to be a member. We are the direct. We're supposed to be the members of this group as the laity, with the consultors who are, the brains in the world. Studied their whole lives. They're ready to be called. They have all the answers. They have all the information on all the free energy devices, on health, on commerce, on everything. Right? They know how to do it. A lot of people believe that the Vatican runs the world, and it is absolutely true. There was a chancellor in Tennessee of a chancery court who put in his book, writing about the chancery court, that to defy the court of chancery shall rain the thunderous wrath of the Vatican upon you. This was back in 1907. It hasn't changed. We just aren't accessing the proper court. Okay, the interpretation of the apostolate of the laity with that of the hierarchy, the interrelationship, where the children's concerns will be known to the Father and shared by him, while the Father's words will be heard by all his children, understood and put into practice. We're just trying to understand the words, put them into practice in light of revelation. In the life mission of the church, whose commitments are highly diversified. That's us. We're a diversified group of people. We're the ones who fix your stuff when it breaks. Right? Well, there's a lot of us sitting idle. We ought to be in the vineyard right now. We're being called to the vineyard. Hey, you got nothing to do? If the builder, the masons, have cast out the stone, because they decided they don't need whatever you do done in this system anymore, and you're standing idle, well, it's time to go back to the church and go in the vineyard and get ready for the harvest. An ecclesiology of communion and mission, and other things that are listed, where all this information comes from. Evangelizing persons and cultures, contributing from within as a leaven to the sanctification of the world, penetrating the temporal order in the spirit of the gospel in order to build a world more worthy of human beings, of the children of God. Let us loose. You can't do it without us. Committed to living the priesthood of their baptism consciously and sensitively as stones of Christ's building, citizens and active agents in his pilgrim people. We're on a mission. Everybody's house who becomes who goes to the church and claims the citizenship will be an embassy. The state no longer can bother you. You are not in their jurisdiction. They will not see you anymore, just like when Jesus arose from the dead. Walked around 40 days. Nobody could see him except his disciples. If they could, why didn't they pin him back on the tree? Right? They did it once, they'd have done it again. What about the Secretariat? Well, a lot of things, but first of all, it's like other law courts of the Roman Curia. International movements and associations, lay faithful, the vocation missions of women of the church, youth ministry, members and consultors, right, where the people come from, got some cardinals involved, got some really smart lay people involved, probably got a bunch of Jesuits involved, Franciscans, all these religious houses, right, who have gathered all the information, is where we're supposed to go to get the information, and they would gladly give it to us. And then this organization is going to allow us to use it for the betterment of mankind. And we're going to get everything we need. So whatever we make, we just give away as a gift. And we're gifting our grace back into society, reducing the world debt. When we take our estates out from the hands of the state and bring it into the church, the books just changed. Somebody has to balance those books by 6, no later than midnight. And what will that do? Well, it's going to reduce the world debt. See, we're going to be in the world anyways. That's where we're supposed to be, in the world. We're just going to make it conform to the temporal order that God set up, not what the crazies have in mind. In addressing the members and consultors, his own way of addressing all laity. Okay, so he's talking to everybody. Christian witness in the world of work. Through dialogue and common reflection to create awareness of the problems arising in the lives of Christian lay people. That's what we're doing. We're bringing it to the attention of the church. There's problems out here. In case you didn't know, in case you're a theologian and don't spend much time in court actually seeing them take somebody's property, and had a chance to look at the paperwork to say, well, how are they doing this? I'm smart enough to see that that isn't signed, and there's an error there, and there's an omission, but they don't seem to be following this paperwork because the defendants put in a sworn complaint and they don't pay any attention to it. What kind of court is this? You know what it is? It's the court of the Jew. They can screw a Gentile. It's in the Talmud. And now it's just done through Protestant legalism. Those that have Judeo-Christian beliefs over faith, right? I only have faith. I have no Judeo-Christian beliefs. I was not a Jew, never will be a Jew. I was a Christian from the time I was baptized, and I still am, and I'm not changing. I'm a witness for Christ. To create awareness of the problems arising in the lives of the lay people, interlocutors is a law court whose doors are open for the most diverse persons and experiences. A Magna Charta, the guidelines of the post-synodal apostolic exhortation Christi Fieldis Lacci are today the main reference regarding vocational lay people, their communion and participation in the life and the mission of the church. I haven't had a chance to read this yet, but I sent it to Bobby. I said, Bobby, I got to let you read, but this has something to do with the thing I'm reading now. And he's read it at least once, and like most of this stuff, you got to read it 3-4 times so you really understand it. But it's saying in there that we have to ask. You can't stand at the door and wait for it to be called in. You must ask. And what we're trying to figure out is where to go ask, and it appears to be through these particular documents and offices. And we'll take all the help we can get. In this way, the apostolic exhortation has been a kind of Magna Charta. So if the Constitution of the Jewry, being the Magna Carta, was between the King of England and the Jews, making the Jews the King of England's property, then the Magna Charta with the King of Kings is making us his property and having his protection. We have spiritual, supernatural protection. The Jews under England had just temporal protection. They are a new creation, new men and women incorporated into Christ through the grace of baptism. That's when we got our commission. Called to grow in holiness as Christophilius, sharers in their own way in the threefold office, priestly, prophetic, and kingly office of Christ. We have an office within the church. Fields of activity. The non-ordained ministers are entrusted to the non-ordained ministries entrusted to lay people. We're not ordained apostles, we're lay apostles. We have our own function. Within the parameters of its own competence, the council performs all activities respecting lay associations of the Christian faithful. Right? So this particular council takes care of everything to do with us, the laity. It's your Secretary of State, keeper of the secrets. As for secular third orders, which it talks about, there's a secular third order signifying general lay members of religious orders, i.e. men and women who do not necessarily live in community and yet can claim to wear the habit and participate in the good works of some great order. So there's already a bunch of really smart guys who fill these things and they go work in the world. And the church does that because by the same token, the Masons have put their people in the church. Right? So when you hear all this nasty stuff about the Vatican that might be happen, sure, the Masons did it. And they're going to point at the church, say they did it. But it was the Masonic agents within the church. And I don't mean just in the Holy See or the Vatican City. I mean all the way down to your frickin' neighborhood. Right? These are the guys taking to the court with the secret handshakes and signs that we don't know, and they're telling us we're not following the frickin' procedure. If you're going to go into court, if you really think you need to go into court, here's my suggestion. Go in there and bless yourself. When they say, what is your name? Well, I was baptized in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Robert Allen, and I open this court in the name of the Lord. I'm here to take your testimony, Judge. Are you going to persecute a Christian? God wants to know. See what he says. Say, okay, that was your first one. Are you going to be a heretic? I only need to put up with 2. After that, it's between you and God. Because it don't matter what paperwork you put in, it can make a frickin' bit of difference. Anyways, it's associated with the Catholic action, right? So there's lots going on. We can be in action. Protestus jurisdiction. I forget what that means. It's good though. The drafting of decrees granting judicial personality and the like. That's what we need. We need our own judicial personality. They have the decrees to do it. The drafting of decrees granting judicial personality. That is the commission that's been rendered to writing and made a memorial of. Right? When you accept an office, the paperwork is just a memorial to it. We need to memorialize the event. And then they got stuff for the youth. Vocations and missions of women, lay commitment in the world, accompaniment for lay people who have posts of responsibility in the secular city. Right? So we're supposed to have these posts in the secular city. Make sure that the secular world conforms to the laws of God, not vice versa. The formation of lay Christians as witnesses to Christ in every environment. Wherever you go in the name of Christ. You go in the name of the Lord. And here's how you prophesize. You tell that false accuser, if you keep that up, you're probably going to go to jail. In fact, you will go to jail. And if they keep it up, and you put in the paperwork, they're going to go to jail. You just prophesied he would, and he is. And in that 30 days in jail, he'll get to spend some time with a confessor from the Holy Inquisition to see if he fears God or not. Yeah. Concerned with growing and varied experience of non-ordained ministers entrusted to lay people. Growing and varied experiences of non-ordained ministries entrusted to lay people. We're going to create our own ministries. How are we going to minister the Word of God? What I can offer is saying, hey, that's what happened in his court is wrong. What happens in the county is wrong. That all these offices are only usurped. Right? They're not holding the office. let's get a writ of quo warranto and have it investigated, and have the civil authority of the secular world have an inquisition, and if they find that things have been done incorrectly, guess what? They can put them under receivership. They can take superintending control. I just happen to think that what I'm speaking of is the Episcopal Church here in America, or the Church of England in whatever form it is anywhere in the world, because in the realms of England there is no separation of church and state. Henry VIII took care of that. So a rector in an Episcopal church is a justice of the peace, a king's officer within a court that is a common law, one of the four superior courts of England. It's the court of justice. So if somebody has a problem, right, either we get them out of the system, or we need to put the complaint into the correct king's officer, and it appears it could be a rector, and rector, go ask, right? Come back and tell us, please. Don't tell me you can't help me now. Tell me what you can do. Because we're talking about violating the Constitution and dealing with the Pope. The lay apostolate is no new thing. You are heirs to a generous effort which now permits new developments. Jesuits have been busy a long time. We lack the time to retrace the manifold history of the lay apostolate. And anyway, it is present in your minds and hearts. Let us be content with thanking the Lord with you, and give thought of gratitude to those who sowed in the past what we are happily harvesting today. Thank you, Jesus, thank you, Lord, for all these fine men and women who've preceded us. It's our turn. It won't be that hard. It's your turn at the plate. At different moments in history, have been active agents in the long process of promotion of the laity, which gained special strength already in the last century, and then proved to be one of the most fruitful and lively currents in the renewal of the church during the present century. And during the present century, we went from gold to legal tender, and legal tender is based on ones and zeros in a computer, and the Vatican controls all the ones and zeros. Gold doesn't have any value anymore. Can't use it. All you can use is legal tender, which is just ones and zeros in a computer. Legal tender doesn't exist until I sign the check, and then they make it. When you go get a loan, if you were to get a loan for a house, those are the holy orders, and you sign the paperwork, that's when the money was created. Right? Well, we can't buy and sell God's property anyways, and that's real estate. We're not going to deal with the real estate. Everything will be a gift. We're going to gift it, and we're going to get it in the name of the embassy. It's going to go back to the church, because when we die, the church keeps control of the property. And if it's been empty for 60 months, they'll just give it to somebody else. After 6 months, if it's vacant, they'll just give it to somebody else. It's been abandoned. So tell them if you're leaving. If you want to go live somewhere else for a while. Maybe you want to go study in Rome for a year and wander the Vatican libraries because you want to contemplate. They'll let you do it. There are reasons to write that this historic trend of promotion of the laity, the 20th century, yep, good stuff, now demands and forms a lay participation. The break between the throne and the altar, new secularization of panel, this talking about, how shit got to be the way it is today. Sorry for the S word. Facts and dates. In context of rebirth, lay associate an importance of the widespread development of the Catholic action, starting especially from the pontificate of Pius VI. This meant the consolidation of a judicial entity different from that contemplated in the Code of Canon Law, 1917. Again, this is for the laity. They consolidated a judicial entity, a corporate soul, a sui juris for us. And he set up the Office of Catholic Action, called Catholic International Organization, right? Starts small, gets bigger, World Congress, lay apostolate, start adding things in, stimulate lay people to apostolic action, activity, choose an agreement with the hierarchy of guiding ideas, coordinate the efforts made, hide it in a bunch of words so those that, who won't see it just won't see it. Right, because it's spread all over, right? Everything. There's a lot of things that are tied to this, what they call by reference. because it's referenced here, then that whole other document is part of this. And if you don't read the other document, you won't get the full picture of what's going on. They do the same thing to us in their paperwork by reference. The world is a mirror image of the church. It's just all bad. Everything they do is 180 degrees backwards from the way it should be done. And you end up in a world like we are right now. The discipline of the secular clergy and of the Christian people. Beautiful. That's what we need. The discipline of the secular clergy and of the Christian people. Who is this secular clergy they're talking about? Could that be the black-robed priest sitting up there in the courtroom? Because you are in an ecclesiastic court. And that guy sitting there in that black robe, he calls himself a judge. Okay, well, he's a religious arbitrator who's using the Talmud as his basis of law, and in their law, religion, it's okay to do what they're doing to you. You're just, right, you're a Gentile. You have no standing. You're just property. And you would say, well, how could a baptized person do that? Well, look what happened in America, the formation of America, right? These good Protestants brought slaves over. Where is that as a Christian? That's a Judeo belief. That isn't a Christian belief. Right? They have Judeo-Christian beliefs. They were baptized, but they're going to act like a Jew. And obstinately say they haven't seen God. Nope, he wasn't here. He's not coming here. I can do whatever I want here. I just need to ask forgiveness on the weekends. I pray for forgiveness on Sunday and pray on my brothers and sisters the rest of the week. What's wrong with that? I got a Jaguar. Must be okay. God hasn't struck me down yet. Well, you just don't know the hour was coming, but it's soon. And we get to be a pilgrim and a militant. Outstanding. Significant and very active group of lay auditors have been involved. Already at this stage, the question was raised of a need of a Roman organism. Now, Roman, again, go check it out yourself, in Latin, is American. An American organism for the promotion of the lay apostolate. Right? They had to make a corporate soul. And a possible Roman secretariat. So, again, none of this is happening at one time. As you can see, you put this much in here, and you change this here, and pretty soon when you put all the pieces together, hey, we have an office in the church in the jurisdiction of the Holy See. It seems very opportune that a special office, sui juris, of the laity should be set up within the Holy See, within the government of the Catholic Church. For the drafting of the text, pud was intended to mean of the Holy See, not an office of the lay organization. Close, not close, of, in the Holy See, within the Holy See, within the government. The expression sui juris meant an independent office with a cardinal president. And a lay apostolate secretariat that would absorb the... Okay, so now we're going to go to lay apostolic. We're looking at the history, remember? These are all the little things that happen. The final report said that the Secretary of State stressed the quasi-unanimity in favor of the creation of the Secretariat. A special Secretariat should be established at the Holy See for the service and the promotion of the lay apostolate. Promotion, that means get a better office than you got today. You've been promoted. The creation of the... now we're going to talk about the creation. So as you can see, I'm not going to go through all this, but I'm going to go until I run out of tape. If I run out of tape, that was enough. You can go find these things yourself online. The very essential dialogue that lay people must initiate and pursue among themselves, and also with those whom the Spirit of Christ has entrusted the task of pastor. Okay, pastors, right? You're supposed to help us. I'm showing you what needs to be done, and we can use your help because you have the phone numbers. You've talked to bishops before. You've talked to these different people. They're all new to me. It's not that I don't want to talk to them, but if I talk to them the way that I would talk to a counter troll in the county, well, they'd be offended. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm still a little bit too amped up, right? So I'm striving for my perfection, but I have a long way to go. The creation of the Secretariat for the laity and that of the Council, Secretariat, or Committee for Promotion of Justice in the World. For the promotion of justice in the world. And remember, right now there is no justice in the world. In the view of the fact that one aspect of lay apostolate consists in sanctifying the world from within by bringing the Christian spirit to its customs and institutions. Right now, the customs of the world are not in our favor. It's just the way we do it. They tell you when they take your house, the Pontifical Commission for Justice and Peace. So again, we got a Commission of Justice and Peace, and then a Pontifical for the laity. I can't remember all the words anymore. But we're going to promote the lay apostolate at the international level. Right, you're going to make us part of the nation of, in the government of the Holy See, having an embassy here in what is called Michigan. I'll be in the world, in Michigan, but I won't be of the world. I won't be a resident of the state of Michigan. I'll be an ambassador in the state of Michigan. Foster the faithful observance of the ecclesiastic laws concerning the laity. This is how we take care of what's happening in court. This opens the way to jurisdictional functions. It will continue to influence the further history of the council. Jurisdictional functions. How can we use our jurisdictional powers? What are the powers of our jurisdiction? Right? Am I going to get a seal? And am I going to be like it says in the Bible? If I say they're guilty, they're guilty. And why have I been entrusted that? Well, because I can tell a false accuser. I'm going to give them a chance to do the right thing. But if not, I'm going to let them talk to the confessor. The president, a cardinal, and the vice president, a bishop, had as collaborators a secretary, the Monsignor, 2 lay undersecretaries, a man and a woman, and other staff members. You know, what is other staff members? It's called the Pontifical Council for the Laity. That's what it's called. Change of name, which has clearly intended to express the higher form given to the council. So, over time, it grew in status within the church. Almost a body laying claim to represent the laity of the whole world within the Holy See. Oh. At least in some languages, the term dilacius concerning the laity had caused confusion, being wrongly translated otherwise, so that the less informed could see in the concilium almost a body laying claim to represent the laity of the whole world within the Holy See. Yeah, you don't need to be very well informed to say that's what they're doing. On the other hand, the term prolacius could also create a confusion which must be avoided. Some, for instance, might see it had an intention, domination, guardianship, or patronism. Right. They didn't want to do that, so they didn't call it pro. They wanted to do this, a body laying claim to represent the laity of the world, the whole world, within the Holy See. That's what they wanted it to mean. So they picked dilacius instead of prolacius. Much more than purely juridical connotation, given the rules, norms, settings, limits imposed, and the sanctions, there is a pastoral dimension offering guidance to the Christian living, helping to fulfill a vocation, etc. Has to be concerned about one or another lay person. Laity has to be concerned about one or another lay person. Right? We have to show the concern. So it isn't that I'm being persecuted. I need to go help my brother who's being persecuted. Right? Blackstone's commentaries of English law says justice should be found at every man's front door. That's what we're going to establish. Seeing that the church's law regarding the laity are strictly observed and examined by the administrative means disputes involving lay people. By court. Church administrative courts. The creation of codius of cardinals, whatever that is, however limited, argued that in this title, the creation of a codius, however limited, of cardinals to assist the president. See, this is where I think they make us cardinals. The podius jurisdictionals. See, we're going to get the office of cardinal. I believe. I'm not going to call it that, but it have the same power. Prince of the church. Would still be able to have majority of lay people among its members. animation and support of the lay faithful for their special task of filling the realm of temporal things with the spirit of the gospel. I'm going to see if you fear God. If you're a false accuser, otherwise I'll give you a hug. Underline the risk involved in separating faith from life. That's what happens when you go into the holy orders. Your faith and life are separated. Don't ask me how, because it's an ecclesiastic style of withdrawal, a clericalization, right? It's a change of your status. We're not going to have that status. Who were called instead to serve the people and society on the basis of their involvement within the temporal realities. Those in the church have left the temporal realities, and that's okay. They're not in the world. They're in the church, over there, within the church. We're going to be within the Holy See, in the world. And that's why these bishops and stuff that we talk to really can't help us. They don't have any jurisdiction in the secular world, only within the church. As for the secular third orders, okay, well, they exist. There's already ones that exist, secular third orders, but they're attached to a religious house. But there's another one, just the lay apostolate. You don't need to be attached. We're going to have a sui juris just for us. We just need to follow the procedure, fill out the paperwork. A service that today is directed towards recognizing, discerning, and encouraging all the signs and fruits of truth and goodness in this great and dramatic moment in history. It absolutely is. Internal renewal and aggromentio of her structures. Was it Pope John the 23rd? Is he the one that decided he wanted to have Vatican II? He said he wanted to throw open the windows of the Vatican and bring in a new government. He's talking about us. Bring in some fresh air. The measure of his own strength, inasmuch as belonging to the people of God, must fulfill the mission of salvation. We can get a special decree, which provides for the institution of an organization for the service promotion of the lay apostolate. All right, so we have the decree that talks about the lay apostles. Promotion of justice among the nations. That's us. The fact that the two questions were studied together made it possible to see both the specific and common aspects. Thus, it became clear that there should be two different organisms united together at the summit by the same leadership, the Council of Laity and the Pontifical Commission on Studies Promoting Justice and Peace. One split into two. One's the court, and the other one's the secretariat to do the paperwork. Right? Let's call him the clerk of the court. Promote the lay apostolate at the international level. Promote international congress for the lay apostolate. Foster the faithful observance of ecclesiastic laws concerning the laity. Again, we're just going to say, hey, they're baptized. They have to follow the same rules we do. Let's take them to the church court. Man can answer into any court he wishes. Special preferences to the sharing of the laity and overall pastoral activity. Well, you can't do it all. Establish a documentation center to provide material for guidance in the formation of the laity. That can only mean to me the documents to form your corporate soul within the church from the documentation center. Its aim shall be to arouse the people of God to full awareness of its mission at the present time. I'm trying right now to do the best I can, right? What we need is a witness. Gather and synthesize documentation of the major scientific and technical studies in the field of development and all of its aspects. They have all the information there is and anything that's ever been done, because there is nothing new under the sun. Educational, cultural, economic, and social, and also concerning peace, insofar as it raises problems which go beyond those of development. So when we get in, we say, hey, you guys are pretty smart. What do you have planned for peace? Let me see the paperwork. Yeah, I agree with that. There's your seal, right? It's going to take an act of God to get things done, and we're coming in the name of God. Right? That's what our office gives us. We get to come in the name of the Lord into the secular world. Promoting justice, peace shall have the same president, cardinals, the Roman of the Roman Catholic Church. So, okay, it's got the same group at the top. The Secretariat. Okay, so this is what it is. One of these is the Court of Chancery, and the other one's the Court of Common Pleas. Right? You go to the Court of Chancery to get your original writ under the Great Seal, and you take it to the Court of Common Pleas to have the rights, title, and interest to land, property, estates determined. And they were both under the Chancellor, the same guy. Both of those are in Westminster Abbey today, as far as England's concerned, which is why I think it's the Episcopal Church here. But through the Roman Catholic Church, as you know, because the Catholic Constitution has given it to us, we've just been going to the wrong door. The Secretary of the shall be assisted by 2 assistant secretaries, Chancellor, Master of the Rolls, Vice Chancellor. The 2 organisms shall have their headquarters in Rome. Right, we're going back to Rome. Just like the Apostle Paul, right? If he got in trouble, what did he say? I'm a Roman. They had to take him back to Caesar because he could plead his case. He had appeal to the Pope. Caesar in that case. Well, we have appeal to the Pope. Nobody can bother you. You have appeal to the Pope. We have confident. We hereby declare ended. Right? So they had some kind of legal thing. Get out of jail free card from before, because they've started this new system of having a corporate soul. We have confidently established the 2 organisms in the firm hope that the lay members of the people of God, to whom we are giving a token of our esteem and benevolence by this official organization, may feel themselves more closely associated with the action of the Apostolic See, and in future dedicate to the Holy Church with ever greater generosity their efforts, their energies, their activity. It's all being held up in our estates by those that have usurped the office. We need to take it to the church. We need to go use our grace. We got a big basket of grace to use to set off debt. Everything established by us in this letter issued on our own initiative, we command to be firm and valid, everything to the contrary notwithstanding. So said the Pope. The Pope has spoken. We have an office. Secretary of the Concilium de Laicius. Concilium de Laicius. And the Pontifical Commission for the Studies of Promoting Justice and Peace. Those 2 organizations, right, come together under this document. One's the Court of Law, and the other one's the Court of Chancery, which is where the Secretariat is. And it sounds to me like they have paperwork ready for us to go fill out to become lay apostles. I'm going to find out what that is. Okay. That's good stuff, man. I'm loving it. So we'll see what comes next. Again, anybody in the Holy Orders that can help, Jesuit can help, give me a call. Love to talk to you. Thanks. Bye.